Stop bringing them money. You need to see what the camera recorded. That's what Mr. Bowers, my downstairs neighbor, whispered as I handed over another envelope of cash to my late wife's parents. His voice shook. His eyes avoided mine. I stared at him, confused. What are you talking about? He hesitated. Just come downstairs. Please. My name is Daniel Reed. I lost my wife, Melissa, 5 years ago. Car accident. It ripped my world in half. Since then, every month without fail, I've brought her parents $10,000. Melissa once told me they were drowning in debt. I thought I was honoring her memory, being the son-in-law she always hoped I'd be. That day was no different. Until I followed Mr. Bowers into his apartment, and he pulled up the feed from the outdoor security camera. It was dated last Tuesday. There, on screen, was my father-in-law, opening the envelope I had just handed him, counting the cash, then smirking, then handing it off, not to my grieving mother-in-law, but to a man I didn't recognize. Younger, confident. The two of them laughed, slapped hands, and walked off together. I felt my stomach twist. That guy's been coming by for months, Bowers said. I didn't want to believe it either. I said nothing. I just kept watching the loop. The smirk. The handshake. The betrayal. That night I didn't sleep. Because if they lied about this, what else had they lied about? The next morning I drove to Melissa's parents' house as usual. Same routine. Ring the bell, smile politely, hand over the envelope. But this time, I didn't let go. Her father, Raymond, looked confused. Something wrong, Daniel? I studied his face, every twitch, every blink. You've been struggling, right? Still drowning in debt. He hesitated. Of course, we're doing our best, but... I let the envelope go. Just wanted to be sure, I said quietly. He smiled, that same smug curve I saw on the footage, and closed the door. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles ached. My mind was racing. Not with rage. With calculation. That man in the footage, I needed to find out who he was. And what his connection was to them. So I called a friend of mine, Liam, a private investigator who owed me a favor from way back. Send me the video, he said. I'll see what I can dig up. By evening he called back. You're not gonna like this, Liam said. That guy. His name's Evan Marks. He's your wife's ex. They dated before you. And guess what? He was in prison 5 years ago. I blinked. Wait, the year Melissa died? Exactly. The air around me thinned. What the hell was Evan Marks doing in their backyard, smiling, taking my money? And why was that date burned into my memory like a scar? The next evening I stood outside my garage, staring at Melissa's old journals stacked in a dusty box. I hadn't touched them since she passed. But now, every memory felt suspect. I flipped one open, dated 6 months before her death. Saw Evan again. I hate that I still feel something. It's wrong. Daniel doesn't deserve this. My throat closed. Another entry. Dad says Evan's getting out early. Says he'll help us. My heart pounded. I kept reading. If this works, Evan promised we'll finally be free. Free from what? I dropped the journal. My hands trembled. I called Liam again. I need to know where Evan was the night Melissa died. Every detail. He sighed. I'm already on it. But Daniel, this goes deeper than I thought. I looked at the police report from her accident. There's a gap in the timeline. What kind of gap? Like someone scrubbed a call from her phone records the night she died. I froze. Call. Liam continued, and guess whose prints were on the car door from the junkyard photo? Not Melissa's. Not yours. Evan, I whispered. He didn't reply. I felt something cold settle in my chest. My wife's death might not have been an accident. And the people I'd been handing money to for 5 years might have helped cover it up. I stood in the dark, gripping the journal tighter. This was true. Then I wasn't just betrayed. I was played. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in Melissa's old reading chair, staring at her handwriting as if it might whisper the truth out loud. By morning, Liam sent me another update. I traced Evan's location history. Guess where his phone pinged the night Melissa died? Where? I barely breathed. 3 blocks from the crash site. At 1:17 a.m. Melissa died at 1:30. I clenched my jaw. Can you prove it? I can now. I got a copy of the street cam footage. You won't believe who picked Evan up afterward. Pause. Raymond. Your father-in-law. That was it. The dam broke. My wife's accident had witnesses. And one of them was smiling in my face for 5 years, taking $10,000 a month from me like it was a morning fee. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Instead, I stopped the payments. Cold. No call. No explanation. 2 weeks passed before I got a knock at my door. It was Raymond, fake concern all over his face. Daniel, everything okay? We didn't receive. I know, I said. Come in. He stepped inside slowly, noticing the manila folder already on the table. I saw his eyes twitch. What's that? I slid it toward him. Melissa's journals. And Evan's prison release records. Plus, one more thing. He opened the last page. A still image from the night of the accident. Raymond's hand on Evan's shoulder, right outside her crashed car. His face went pale. Raymond's hand trembled as he stared at the image. His lips parted, but nothing came out. I leaned forward calm. You told me she was driving alone. That there was no foul play. But here you are, standing next to her totaled car 15 minutes before the police report says she was found. He looked up, eyes glossy. Daniel, I gave you $10,000. Every month. For 5 years. Out of guilt. Out of grief. I didn't know what Evan was planning, he stammered. I tilted my head. But you helped him leave the scene. He looked away. I thought it was a mistake. He said he didn't see her. That she ran the light. And you just believed him? Silence. I pushed the folder aside and slid over one more thing. A recorder. I've been recording this whole conversation. And before you say anything, yes, it's legal. In this state, one-party consent is enough. He froze. I'm not going to the police. Not yet. I want something first. He raised his eyes cautiously. What? I want everything you know. Every lie. Every cover-up. And I want Evan's address. You're serious, he said. I smiled coldly. I'm more serious than I've ever been. He swallowed, then slowly nodded. Okay. But if you go to Evan, be careful. Why? He looked me in the eyes. Because he didn't just kill Melissa. He wanted you next. I drove in silence for nearly 2 hours. Evan's address sat on the passenger seat, scribbled hastily by a man who now feared everything he'd helped hide. The house was old, tucked at the edge of a forest road. The kind of place people chose when they wanted to disappear. I parked down the street and approached on foot. Through a dusty window I saw him. Alive. Unbothered. Watching TV with a beer in hand like he hadn't shattered an entire life. I didn't knock. I waited. Watched. It wasn't until the second night that I saw him leave. He walked out, backpack slung, locking the door behind him. I followed. He didn't go far, just to a nearby bar. I slipped into the shadows inside. He didn't recognize me. That alone told me how little he remembered of the woman he killed. But I remembered everything. After he stumbled out 2 hours later, I made my move. He never saw me coming. I pinned him against the alley wall, one arm to his throat. Melissa Reed, I said calmly. Ring a bell? His drunken smirk faltered. Who the hell are you? Her husband. The one you left widowed. His face drained of color. I didn't mean to. Save it. I held up a USB drive. Everything you've done. Every move since prison. It's all here. And you're going to do exactly what I say, or tomorrow this goes straight to the DA. Evan stared at the flash drive in my hand, fear sobering him faster than any coffee ever could. I don't know what you think you have, he muttered. I have enough to bury you, I replied calmly. Security footage. Witness statements. Melissa's autopsy files with timestamps that don't match the official report. But more importantly, Evan, your parole officer doesn't know about this little house in the woods, does he? He flinched. I stepped closer. You think I've been paying her parents out of guilt? I've been paying them to keep quiet. To protect your lie. That ends tonight. What do you want from me? He snapped, jaw tight. I want a confession, I said. On video. You tell the truth, no edits, no theatrics. You say you hit her. You panicked. You left. He hesitated. And if I don't? I smiled, quiet and lethal. Then tomorrow this drive hits every major news outlet. And I make sure your parole violation sends you straight back to a cell. He slumped. I could see it, the weight of years of pretending collapse on him in real time. That night, Evan sat in front of my camera, face gaunt, voice low. And for the first time, I heard the words I'd waited 5 years to hear. I killed Melissa Reed, and I left her there. I didn't cry. I pressed stop, sealed the file and quietly whispered, she can rest now. But the next morning, that peace shattered with one phone call. The call came at 6:42 a.m. It was Officer Linden. His voice was grave. Mr. Reed. Evan Michaels is dead. My throat closed. What? Gunshot wound. Point blank. Back of the head. We're treating it as a homicide. There were no signs of forced entry. But something else turned up. He paused. I already knew. The confession video, I said. Yes. And the footage from your camera, your visit, the conversation. It's clear you didn't kill him, but you need to come in. Hours later, I sat in a sterile room, watching detectives replay the footage of Evan's confession. Over and over. They didn't press charges. But they asked questions I wasn't ready to answer, like who else had access to the file. Because I hadn't sent it yet. Which meant someone else had broken into his house and retrieved it. Someone who wanted him silenced. Melissa's parents. The ones I'd been paying. The ones who swore they wanted peace. I returned home and found the envelope before I even stepped inside. Inside it, no note. No name. Just my daughter's drawing, torn in half. I stared at the colors. At the way she'd drawn our family, me, her, and Melissa, in bright crayon smiles. And that's when I knew this wasn't over. They didn't just want to erase the truth. They wanted to control it. So I walked to my desk, opened my laptop, and uploaded Evan's confession to 3 cloud servers. And then I hit publish. For Melissa. For my daughter.